These forms are available and printed in a municipal printing press. The same are available in the respective building proposal offices. The 337 form is to be accompanying with all the document as listed in the EODB formats and the manuals which is available online. This is the 337 form which is to be filled up by the plot owner along with the name of the architect. It is seen from the form that the majority of the forms, if you while scrutiny, while receiving the proposal, you please re-examine this form minutely and carefully, because major of these forms, the name of the owner, the signatures, then address, the name of the architect, then his license number, all are to be properly mentioned, because this is the document which are very useful and in light of the various court matters and the legal issues arise in future during development and after the development. So the plot owner is the intended purpose, means the person who's showing his intention to make an application in the zonal building proposal. He has to sign that form and submit it to us. This form is to be filled up properly along with the plot area, the proposed development, the FSI, the parking requirement, etc., etc. So the blank figure, the blank situation is to be filled up like a not applicable or nil. The form is to be properly filled in and it is to be submitted. Now this is the second application which is to be submitted along with 337 is the 44 and 69 of MRTP Act 1966. So this is also to be filled up carefully and submitted in a prescribed format. The notice under section 337 MMC Act is considered to be a first development permission for erecting a new building. The development means a redevelopment or a new development or repair, etc., etc. The notice is having a legal implication, so it's need to be processed in a prescribed period as elaborated in the 337 MMC Act. If the permissions and the refusal and if it is not processed in within a stipulated period, then the same notice is having a legal implication. So we need to address the same and we need to carefully monitor its periods, etc. While processing the proposal for a grant of development permission as per the EODB manual, it is elaborated in the EODB procedure. Same is also annexed in the DCPR 2034. Basically, the proposal is initially processed as per 337 MMC Act. Thereafter, after receiving the regular approval to the competent authority, executive engineer, chief engineer, honorable MC, the IOD is issued to the proposal under section 346. Thereafter, after compliance of the various conditions mentioned in the IOD, the CC is issued under section 45 of MRTP Act. And after compliance of the respective clean CC, the further CC is issued and compliance of entire completions, then the BCC, etc. are issued. The respective formats prescribed in the EODB manual. Especially if you see this index, the major para is related with the building proposal, where the categorization 1A, where they have prescribed the building proposal and the procedure adopted while submitting and while processing the building proposal file in the zonal building proposal office. The architect, license surveyor, they have to submit an application in a prescribed formats. Thereafter, the zonal building proposal staff, scrutiny officer, sub engineer, assistant engineer, executive, respective officer, they have to make a scrutiny based on the formats and prescribed in the EODP formats. The formats are distinguished based on the various stages of approvals. The same, you can visualize the same from the index as mentioned in the building proposal manual, EODP. This is the checklist. This is the initial checklist for submitting a proposal in the 3337 format in the zonal building proposal office. The person, those who are having intention to develop the plot, he has to make an application first. He has to show his ownership with respect to that. The title is need to be verified through the legal advocates or solicitor. Basically, since last 2 years when I am working in the zonal building proposal office, I observed that majority of the title clearance certificate are submitted by the advocates. The advocates are submitting a scrutiny of the documents. They are submitting a summary sheets. Summary sheets and the title clearance, both the things are very different, because the title clearance is a search. It starts with the inception as shown ownership in the PR card, right now the present owner. So they are giving a search and everything. What is the entry reflected in the PR card? They are checking all the things, and they are finally mentioning that the property is clear and marketable, and so project proponent is authorized to develop the property on the land under reference. So this is a basic requirement, because in case of any future legal complication, then RTI and then complaint, this is very essential. Otherwise, there are chances of legal matters and legal battles during the process of redevelopment. Second thing, while scrutinizing the thing, looking in the checklist, the PR card is equally important. From the PR card, you can understand the name of the owner, area, and the tenure of the plot. The tenure of the plot is means government, then municipal lands, then the private person, etc. The lands are allotted on a periods, so many number of period, 1990-year lease, etc. So this column 17, basically in the city PR card, wherein there is a specific entry related with the acquisition, then there is a right of way agreements or etc. Then the mortgage of the properties, all the major endorsements of the PR card are reflected in the column 17 of the PR card. So these are a very crucial noting that we have to point out at the time of the scrutiny. So the one other issue is main is the enemy property. The enemy properties entries, then acquisition, ongoing proposal entries if it is under reservation. So that are also reflected as a pencil entry in the PR card. So that is also the key, very much important issue while checking the proposal. Then the PR card, after that the CTS plan. The CTS plan is equally important. Proposals need to be submitted based on a CTS plan boundaries as reflected in the CTS plan, not as per the plain table or not as per the site condition, because site conditions are deviating from the PR card. The physical possession is to be in consonance with the PR card area and the CTS plan. The development and the plain dimensions are also to be need to be checked with respect to the CS boundaries. And after that, the DP remark. Development Plan 2034. If the proposals are submitted in a fresh proposal or it is in the transition period, if it is a 1991 proposal and the developer is opting for the transition under 95 or 96A or B, then the fresh DP remark is also essential. From the DP remark, we can see the nature of the road widening, the nature of the DP reservations, then various ongoing proposals like infrastructure projects, MMRDA's metro projects, infrastructure projects, coastal road projects, HE tunnels, high tension. These are the restraining zone and developments is also need to be checked from that. And there are various special planning authority in the limit of MCGM, such as MMRDA, MADA, etc. But the special planning authority, they are having their own DP. So if the proposals like Dharavi and BKC, if we received in our console, that we have to clarify at the initial stage that we are not an appropriate authority for the said proposal, because last 1.5 years it is found that the regularization proposal are received in MCGM console with respect to the Dharavi notified area. So we are not an appropriate authority. So this is also one of the checklists while receiving the proposal in our console. Initial scrutiny start with the two issues. One is a document scrutiny and second is a drawing scrutiny. The document scrutiny is to be verified with respect to the checklist and the provisions, the development provisions. The development provision as per the DCPR 2034. Here I am talking about a fresh proposal as per the 2034. Development proposals received as per the 2034 is basically in the context of the various points and contents mentioned in the DCPR 2034. If you go through the DCPR 2034, part 1 is a basic thing. It is an administrative part. In the administration part, we know our jurisdiction, MCGM's jurisdiction. What is the MCGM jurisdiction? So the DP published by MCGM, it is our jurisdiction. But certain portion like MADA layouts, then the SRA, for certain area we are not having a planning authority of the said area, but that our DP is prevails over there. So we received a proposal of development permission in our jurisdiction. So development permission. This is a very much important issue. The grant of development permission, CC, procedure of obtaining procedure of construction, inspection officer, etc. These are the highlighted in the permission part 2 in the DCR. Development permission. Nowadays, the proposal are received in these three formats. One is a 9.5, 96A and 96B. 95, earlier development permission. Earlier permissions are issued and CC is valid. We are processing the proposal as per the same format and we are issuing the CC and subsequent OC for the same as per the 95. First of all, the validity of the CC is need to be maintained. This is a very much important document, validity, because in last month I had observed one court matter. During that court matter, Justice Katawala, now there was a one matter related to CC was not revalidated. The matter went to the High Court. The basic contention of that petitioner was CC was earlier issued up to the 7th floor. The CC was not revalidated since last 2 years. So the petition is that work is carried out beyond cities, CC is to be maintained and it is to be put into the unauthorized construction work. The said matter still in the board of Honorable High Court. So my request to all of those who are working in the zonal building proposal, just check the CC revalidation periodically so that there will not further any legal complication in the matter. Second thing, the proposal are received in 96A. 96A means the owner is opting for the in toto approval, because if you want to switch over to the 2034, he is opting that facility in 96A, and 96 means a balance potential. The balance potential by keeping the earlier approved potential as per the 95 and rest of the balance FSI he is interested in 2034 as per the 9B. So this 95, 96 are governed as per the transition policy for the smooth implementation, and these policies are circulated by administration time to time. The land use manner and the development. This is a very important topics in the DCPR 2034. If you check the development plan remarks, you will see the designation, reservation, and various combination of public purpose. So while scrutinizing the same, you have to just concentrate on a component, whether it is under acquisition or not. That a special remark is need to be obtained from the development plan department. If it is under acquisition, then you have to take a call accordingly and you have to carve out that area from your development and you have to go ahead with the provision. If it is under acquisition, we cannot switch over under accommodation because it is already in the process. We have to follow the appropriate procedure to let down from it, drop it from the acquisition procedure. Then after that, we have to go for the accommodation reservation concept. So the site requirement are equally important while processing the proposal. Nowadays, the proposal are received with respect to the road width. The buildings are proposed up to 30 meter, up to 32 meter, 6 meter roads. It's need to be maintained on a site. The status of the road is to be obtained from the respective ward officer. Status is to be clear width of the road, not an average width, because average width will not it will not available on the particular location. So minimum width, clear width is available for the processing the proposal. And I will explain how to process the proposal while processing the lesser width of the floor space index. Floor space index TDRs, these are available with respect to the road width, and the proposals are processed accordingly. Earlier, there was no TDR proposal for the city. Now, as per the 2034, TDR is applicable and it is with respect to the road width. The permissible FSI for the plot is worked out excluding the road, DP road, roads and RL and the amenity. And the set is worked out accordingly. The fungible built-up area is permissible over and above the permissible FSI. The additional floor space index that is 33.1 to 33.23. This is available over and above the basic permissible zonal FSI. The proposal are processed like in city. The proposal are processed in 33.7, 33.9. They are proposed along with the parking lot advantage. Then 33.12A in the combination. That is a contravening structure. So when you are receiving a proposal from licensed surveyor or architect, it's need to be mentioned properly. The proposal is processed in the combination. If it is a combination, what is the principal and basic scheme for the combination? Means the basics, if the proposal is under 33.7 and 33.12, you have to mention specifically that 33.7 plus 33.12. So the principal scheme is a 33.7. Land use zoning pattern. This is very much important in the 342 proposals. The land use zoning, general building requirement. This is a very crucial part in the while scrutinizing the documents like drawings, then the building proposal draft plan submitted by the architect's licensed surveyor. Fact sheets 4A, 4B, and 4C. After scrutiny of these documents, the major component as per the EODP manual, we have to adhere, that is the fact sheets is the 4A. This document is submitted by architect and is signed by our sub-engineer. After that, there is a 4C, 4B. 4B is signed by sub-engineer and assistant engineer. And 4C is signed by assistant engineer and executive engineer. I'm going to show you one draft. Basically 4A, 4B, and 4C documents. 4C document is a vital document that we are submitting it to the competent authority. All the approvals and concessions requested in the 4C are always asked to be drafted positively, and it is not like in a negative form, like a not to insist compound wall, or not to insist allow this proposal, or not to insist MCZ, MAC, etc. It need to be drafted properly. I'm placing one 4A. This is a draft 4A, which we have submitted. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this PPT I'm going to share on a group also.